Hello, everyone. It's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo for one of my special interviews with one of CIG's people, and that is going to be Cameron Wilkie. Cameron, welcome to my show.
Hi, Nikki. A pleasure to do this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Good. I hope so. You were, first time I ever met you was over at the CitizenCon event, and of course in the chats that we've had leading up to it. But let's get an idea of who you are and what you do for CIG. So can we have your full name and your title?
Absolutely. So I'm Cameron Wilkie, and my title is the Events and Marketing Manager. So what I love about that is I think I'm the only person with events in their job title. So that means that anywhere in the world there's an event, I'll either be there or have something to do with it behind the scenes.
Oh, that's awesome. So you'll be at our Bar Citizen in a couple of weeks.
I'll at least be very aware of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that's pretty awesome. So you were, and we're going to get to this a little bit later, but you also were a Star Citizen supporter before this.
Oh, and still am. Absolutely. I'm still a background subscriber.
Awesome.
So for years, I've been a background subscriber, and I had the chance to go to the 2014 Gamescom, and that's where I found the opportunity to volunteer.
Okay.
And found that my skill set could help the smooth running of everything that was going on, and pitched in as best I could.
Okay, we're going to reel it back and get up to there.
All right.
All right, I want people to know you, so let's go back because we've got a lot of passionate, and we'll just leave passionate. I never want to use the addicted because I think those of us involved with this game know how to balance our time and our obsession. So let's go back to the original computer that you first started to game on. Can you remember what that was?
Okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It'll wonderfully show my age. It was a ZX81.
That explains your music choices on Sophie's stream. I knew that you were closer to my age than I thought.
Yeah. So ZX81, for the younger audience, that's at the point where you had a computer magazine and there would be a computer program, always with a bug or two, in the back of the magazine, and you'd have to type it in, and then it might or might not work. I think probably thinking back, it'd be like the first ever alpha program, because it would always be the next magazine that they would release the patch, which would actually just be, oh yeah, in line 32, we missed a semicolon. Please go back and type it in. And so the patch was like a physical, you had to type it in kind of patch, but still the same concept.
It's pretty good. And in terms for our US viewers, that would be close to the VIC-20 or the Commodore 64?
Oh, no.
It was before that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was before that, so Trash 80.
The VIC-20 and Commodore 64.
So it was like a trash.
There were a few years after this sort of tech. So I had something similar to a VIC-20. I had a TRS-80.
Trash 80.
And yeah, which I started learning to program BASIC on, and made little games, and used up all the however many bytes of memory it had on it. Yeah, and that got me into that. Just for me, that was a great avenue to use my imagination. So that's one thing that got me into gaming in general, was this exploring the imagination and tapping into the possibilities of everything that's out there.
Oh, awesome. So you started by programming the games that you would play, and other programs back then too, right? It wasn't just all about gaming in those magazines.
Yeah, yeah. You had cassette players, so you could load the game on over the course of 10 minutes and hope the blocks loaded fine. And yeah, it was a bit of fun. Floppy disks were adventure.
Yeah. I used to make fun of the Trash 80 I had, because they had like a flight simulator program that would put you on final at SFO, And if it was even SFO, it was just all little line drawings, and I'd load
Just
it.
lines, yeah.
Yeah, I'd take 10 minutes. I'd jump in the shower real quick to take a shower and come out. It would be loaded. I'd fly it for 2 minutes and have to start over if I crashed. It was nuts. It's crazy.
It's it's very different to the gimme now state of the world that we're in.
Yes.
So the fact that you would actually just press play on a tape and then you'd come back after a while. Yeah.
And now people complain when Star Citizen takes 2 minutes to load. No. Or 4 years to create. Sorry, no. Let's go. Sorry, I'm the biggest backer. I'll make fun of it, but that's because I'm making fun of me, not the game. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about that first game that really captured you and had you, just one more turn, and playing maybe through the night.
Well, that's pretty easy. And I'll qualify how much I played it by the fact I mounted the computer. And it was on a BBC Micro, and I was playing Elite. And it was one of those games where the save didn't always work, and so you'd kind of do a playthrough for as long as the computer would keep running. And it didn't run very well after that. So, yeah. So Elite, I think the original Elite was a great opportunity to go and explore a galaxy, I suppose it was. That real sandbox feel where you could go anywhere, do anything, flying around in space, and yeah, it opened my eyes to what could be done. Yeah.
All right. So I myself, I remember that game like it was yesterday, and just being one of the people that bought Elite, they give you that game for free. The original Elite, which is pretty fun. But that was one. What other types of games did you get involved with after that? Was it always space genre?
Well, I've found over the years, apart from the occasional dabbling in some MMOs, I have three main genres of games that I love. I love space sims. I love sort of open world RPGs, and that love has now actually evolved into the Minecrafty 7 Days to Die style survival horror base building games. And I love turn-based strategy.
Oh, so Civilization 6 that comes out tomorrow.
I know, right? Everyone at work keep quietly whispering about it, and it was very distracting today. So I love Civilization, and I've played all of them and all the expansions over the years. I'm not that good at it to be able to play against other people, but that's always a bit tricky anyway. But I hold my own against the very cheaty AI on high levels.
Yeah, I have to say I played Elite, and it was probably a game I was addicted to, but my first love was the first Civilization, and I don't know why. It was just that constant hitting of the space bar to go to the next turn back then was just, what happens next? It was awesome.
That's it. And again, even with Civilization, it's the feeling that you're at the start of something. You're at the start of something that is going to get very big and be very big. And it's all the possibilities in between now and then. So that feeling of complete freedom and wonder about what is going to happen next. You get the feeling when you start the first time you played Skyrim, and you get in and you get through the intro, and then you're at the top of a mountain and you can look anywhere and you can go anywhere and everything's dangerous. So it's exciting and you're free and you want to just see what happens. So I love that feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. So maybe you can answer this question. Sean Bean or Leonard Nimoy? Do you know what the question is? Do you know what that has to do with?
Well, I'm going to say who played the better role of some character.
The voiceovers in the original Civilization were Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, I much preferred.
And
Yeah,
today,
no, I much preferred Nimoy. Yeah,
okay, yeah, today
he
it's
just
Sean
had.
Bean.
Okay, look, I've got nothing against Sean Bean. I think he's a great guy. What I loved about see, I haven't heard the voiceovers, or haven't noticed if I have heard them that they were Sean Bean. I haven't noticed that they were, but I do remember Leonard Nimoy's voiceovers, and I remember them coming from a point of view as though he's someone who has seen the universe and is just quietly telling you about it from a complete sense of authority. So that still resonates with me.
That's a wonderful way to put that. I like that. So, so you're a gamer at heart for your life, or a gamer
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So,
Oh no, in so many ways. So for me, the great passions in my life are gaming and food, because I'm a little bit of a genetic mutation, which has led me to be a super taster and a super smeller. So I have a great affinity for food and great appreciation of when it's good. So when I started traveling the world, I ended up working in hospitality. The opportunity to have a chef cook me dinner for the rest of my working life quite appealed to me, and I traveled the world. And but the strange thing was, for the whole time that I was working, running resorts, hotels, restaurants, I was hoping that there would always be a way where I could combine food and computer games. So if I was working at a restaurant, I'd be gaming at night. That was pretty straightforward. But I wanted a way, either make my own game that was about restaurants, or find someone who was making a game about restaurant. Like, find some way to put the two together. And yeah.
So does Aaron have good food at the Manchester office?
Aaron has good food in general. He is a great foodie. He's a very surprisingly good chef, and has a lot of Tex-Mex history behind some of his cooking, because they spent so much time in that part of the world.
I love to cook.
Yeah.
I love to cook. But living with my best friend, and her being from Britain, she always wants to cook British food. There's a reason there's no British restaurants in America.
Yeah, it's it's the sort of food culture where it's just coming into its own now. It's just finally waking up and being what it can be.
Yeah.
And that's only really come into play from the mid-90s, but really from about 10 years ago.
You're such a melting pot now. It's like, her curry is amazing. So I'm making fun, but I'm not. She is a wonderful chef. And we challenge each other all the time with different things. Now, I worked, like you, in hospitality for the first half of my life, well, until I was in my 30s. And I just love to put together meals, and sometimes I just buy things and figure out, all right, what tastes good. Okay, I got to buy some fresh sage, some thyme, maybe some rosemary, and I'll just cook and make something nice. And she throws things in a pot, bam, 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 doesn't even try, and it tastes fucking awesome, you know?
Right? Oh, that's a good roommate to have.
Yeah. So, hospitality and gaming. That sounds like...
How are you going to put the two together?
Well, you can put it together.
Well, I did.
You did.
Well, yeah. So that I'm in absolutely my dream job now. I'm making parties for a computer game company.
There you go.
That's it.
And we had cake.
The cake was not a lie.
All right. So we've got you to the point where you're giving us your gaming history. Now let's go into what my way into Apple, who I worked for. It was a haphazard way of multiple jobs throughout my life. Let's get you to 2014. Okay, so let's fill in that blank. College, work, history, whatever. How did you get from where you were talking about that gaming to that 2014 Gamescom? What were those parts of your life?
Right. So university, I took human nutrition and food science. So I knew as much as one would really want to know about food and how the body uses it, all those lovely things. And so I wanted to go see the world, started in some little restaurants and little country house hotels, worked on a cruise ship for a while. That was a lot of fun. And slowly worked my way up into working with some fantastic restaurateurs. And these gentlemen are the royalty of London restaurants, Chris Corbin and Jeremy King. And if you've been to London and you've been to a great restaurant, you've probably been to one of theirs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to cut you off real quick because we're going to have to come back to Wing Commander because I'm sure you played that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
yeah, that was mid-90s.
So take us to that point, okay?
All right. So, that was back at high school, like end of high school, start of university years. And I don't think I can honestly say I played the first 3 all the way through. I don't think I did. I think I played a little bit, and for some reason I didn't complete them. But Wing Commander 4 was
Price of Freedom.
Memorable in that it came on a CD, and that was the turn of like CDs in computers, and the Pentium chip came out, and everything just took a whole generation up on the world of PC. And I bought a PC that year on a terrible rent-to-buy scheme, which cost me a lot of money, but I had a PC, and it was very, very cool. And I know. And and the advancement was that CDs let the artists and all those that are wanting to show more graphics and more cinematic cuts the ability to pile up a CD to fill it up. Because before it was, how many 3.5-inch floppy disks does the game take? You know, is it a 1-disc game or is it a 4-disc game? And that got painful. That was a hard limit for the game devs. But CD just let us have movie-like scenes in the games, and that was so much fun. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome to explain it that way, because I would have to say my true obsession is when Wing Commander came out, and I was an Amiga user, and they didn't have it on the Amiga, so I dragged my ex-father-in-law out to PC shows, and we started building PCs, and right off the bat, I went right into building computers back then. And outside of about a 9-year separation from the simulation genre and not building computers, that's what I did for most of my life. So it's good to hear that you didn't go into that part of the obsession that early.
No, I actually played a lot more Freelancer.
So it's 1990.
That game. Oh, I forget.
I think 1991.
90 something.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah. It might be closer to 2.
I thought it was late 90s. I thought it came after. Yeah, and I'm sure someone will look it up and remind me. But I played a lot more of that. And I found that it was because it had an open world aspect to it. You could go here, you could go there. It wasn't so regimented in its mission structure.
Okay.
And without knowing it, that's something that has always appealed to me. And yeah, I think it made it a lot more fun for me.
Okay. So here you are with a love of gaming and a love of food, working in the industry, And we all know that when you work in hospitality, your hours stink here in the U.S. Are they just as bad there in Britain? Or you were probably in Europe.
It's fairly universal. It's we know in hospitality 50 to 60 hours a week is fairly standard. And if you've got one day off, that's good, and if you've got 2 days off, that's unusual. So it's this sort of lifestyle, but at the same time, hospitality remained very rewarding. I've eaten the best food in the world for decades, so I'm quite happy about that.
Okay. So here you are working in hospitality, you have a gaming, gaming love. What's balancing the two of them like? Are you going to work all tired and
it actually worked out wonderfully because my work was generally pretty physical. I would be walking 10 to 20 kilometers a day, and you'd have a busy service, and you'd really do quite a lot of exercise. It's something I miss being a natural part of my work life, because now I have to artificially add it in the ways of exercycles and gyms and these sorts of things. So I miss it being a natural part of my work day. So it meant that getting home, the most natural thing I'd want to do is just sit and not move, and that was perfectly suited to gaming. That was just let the body relax and let the mind expand.
That's my excuse, being on my feet all day.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
It's fair.
Yeah. All right. And so you have this, now you have a love of the same type of things I do, and maybe it's from the era that we grew up, that our minds were always trying to escape to these bigger, better places. So the open world genre, you mentioned Skyrim, and Skyrim is kind of like that role-playing game that's like Chris Roberts' vision for Star Citizen. So when you first played that game, how many hours have you put into it, and what are the things that you found most interesting and spent most of your time doing in that game?
Okay, well, I've played Skyrim, what I would classify as a reasonable amount. I know the game reasonably well. I haven't played it for the 3,000 to 10,000 hours that some people have. I think I've probably only put in 1,000 to 1,500 hours into that game, which means that I've played it through, and then I've played it through on different mods and had a look at all sorts of fun things that people have done to enhance the game even further.
I have to see what I put in. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's games that I've put in a lot more time than that.
Oh, this is Steam is broken. It says I put in 10 hours.
Yeah. I think mine's the same, because there's a lot of the time where you'd launch it with the mod launcher, and Steam wouldn't track it, and
right.
But I'd estimate somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. Nothing too crazy.
Now Fallout 4 is 1,200 hours, but that's different. Fallout's just amazing.
Fallout, right. That's a great series. I think as well, we're from a generation of people that have grown up playing with Lego because there weren't computers, or they just weren't a great option at the time. And Lego is a great way to use your imagination and have a look at the world.
That's a great.
And then that.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying that's a great way to put it. Keep going.
And then Dungeons and Dragons came out, and that was another great way to have siblings and not fight all the time, and expand your mind and use your imagination. And it was as well at a time where the world was very happy with children just running outside, going mental, and just doing things to use their imagination. And I see that less and less. I see nowadays children are more given fun toys, but given things that have a limitation, a natural limitation on it. And it's a shame. I like games that challenge challenge children to use their imagination and to develop that side of it. So Space Engineers, Minecraft, games where they're free to create. So
I think
Space Engineers for me, it's the new space Lego. Yeah, it's whatever I used to do with Lego is what I enjoy doing in Space Engineers. So, and it's just kind of cool because at the end your ship normally flies.
That's good. Can you hear Batcat trying to get in?
Is that the cat?
I'm gonna take a short break just to let her in and come right back.
Yeah.
I like the way that you talk about that because I have two sons and they're both wonderful, amazing, and great. They're twins, and one plays the Maddens and the Call of Duties, and the other one used to spend hours and hours and hours and hours in Minecraft. Doesn't so much anymore because he plays football, our football, not yours. And but I mean, it was the tale of two different things, and I think that's a good way to look at things, that your imagination was just always working when we were children. And today, how many times are you standing next to somebody with a whiny kid that they just say, here, take my phone, play this game, you know?
Well, I saw it a lot in the restaurants with the development of beautifully intuitive tablets and products that even 18-month-old toddlers could quite happily swipe, choose a video they want to watch it, finish watching that. And because the products are so intuitive, they're so easy to give as pseudo babysitters. In the restaurants, anything that kept kids quiet, I actively encouraged for the betterment of everyone's experience.
All right. So how did you get from this period of your life to finding out about Star Citizen? Did you play other space games? Did you know Chris Roberts? Did you follow Wing Commander movie? Those type of things.
Well, I'd played some Chris Roberts games before, and then while Chris was taking his hiatus, I call that a hiatus. He was working busily in the movie industry. I mean, a hiatus from game creation. I was playing a great series of games for the space side of things, the X series for Egosoft, and I fully rate their game, the X2 and X3, brilliant releases. And leading into just about the time that Star Citizen got announced, I was working with Egosoft in their testing team, and heard that Star Citizen come out, but I was quite heavily focused on what I was doing for them. So as soon as I think within a few days of finishing with Egosoft, I became a backer. So that was end of 2013, say October there somewhere.
Okay, same time period as me. What caught you? What did you see or watch that got you interested?
So the thing that really got me into Star Citizen was the scope, the fact that it was going to be so many systems, like 100 systems, a fully fleshed out universe, go anywhere, do anything, be anyone. That feeling of wonder where you're so free to do what you want, thrown in with a little bit of danger at every turn. So it's fun, yeah. Cool. If there's no danger, there's no fun for me. It's got to be a little bit of risk, a little bit of something just to keep you on your toes.
So what was your first ship, and what did that ship become over time?
Yeah, that's good. And that, yeah, I can feel the what is it, the addicted.
Oh, come
Anonymous.
on, this is Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous.
Yeah, I can feel that coming through. So my first ship, I wanted a ship where it would allow me to take advantage of the universe. It would allow me to sort of do whatever I wanted to do at any turn and be ready for any kind of situation. So I bought a Connie.
You are awesome.
Yeah. Well, the Connie's awesome. So because it could take cargo, it could fight, it could fire missiles, it could land on planets. And then when the Phoenix variant became available, that was even, and it had like a little fighter ship, had a around, and it was all in one container. And so it enhanced what the Constellation was to me. That variant enhanced that imagery even more. Yeah.
That's awesome, because for me it was.
And then I got Idris.
What?
Yeah, and then I got an Idris.
So all right, folks, it's easy to find out Cameron's email on CIG. Just send him an email so you could be a crew on his Idris when he takes it out. He needs 75 of you. Oh, we're having big
yeah, I think you could. Well, I mean, I've seen the inside of the Idris, and I've seen it crewed up, and I think 50 will probably do it. 50's good.
50's good.
You could we'll see what actually works when it's running in the universe.
Wow, we are having lots of
and we got a lot of people, doing all the jobs, and then find out what actually works.
That's cool.
Because it might be that 10 to 15 can handle an Idris.
Well,
I doubt it. It's more likely there's more, but let's see.
It'd be less once they understand that manned turrets, even after World War II, were no longer used. So, remote turrets would be so awesome. Not as fun,
yeah, and
but not as frustrating.
There are remote turrets in the game, and there are automated turrets in the. But it's not just the sheer number of turrets the Idris has got. It's all. I mean, you'd want to, personally, because I'm really bad at FPS, I would want my own personal repelling party.
Repelling party?
Right? I'd see us. Yeah, absolutely. A boarding repelling party. Like have 4 mercenaries that just patrol your ship, ready to repel anyone who boards.
Oh, repel. Okay, gotcha. All right, that's cool. I like that, because people are going to try to board you if you're in an Idris. It's kind of like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like now when you take
fly into the hangar.
Yeah, you take out a Connie or a Retaliator now, and it's like you're shark bait, It's like everybody jumps on you. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So what are some of the other ships that you've picked up over the years? Because if you started in 2013, and my guess is you started working in 2015 for the company?
Okay, well, I'll clarify that. So 2013 through to when I bought my Idris, I just had my Connie. And because for me, there was no great reason to buy other ships, because the reason I bought the Connie was that it could do anything. And so there was nothing... There was no reason to buy a second ship for me, and I keep saying to people when they're joining us backwards, just get one ship. You can always earn more in game. Just get the game, get in. You can upgrade that ship to another if you like the look of something new. But okay, it's good to have alternates, but I don't like it if people think you have to have a huge fleet. Because you don't have to. You can just have one ship. That, of course, didn't stop me. I'm not going to listen to my own advice. So I've spent a bit of money being a subscriber. I've fully supported that initiative, and was very happy to find a way to support the development of the game and encourage the feedback and transparency of the development process. And I haven't stopped my subscription, and I don't intend to. I'm just supporting the game. And my most most recent purchase was a Polaris.
I knew it. I knew it. How could you pass that ship up? Oh my god, it's so badass.
You just can't. But I mean, part of the reason I bought the Polaris wasn't just because it's so cool, and the 4 size 10 torpedoes are just super threatening. Part of the reason I bought the Polaris was because and apart from its absolute intent of supporting the development of the game, I realized how much of a value for money it is. A lot of people don't realize that if you took that cash money and you bought UEC and you tried to buy something in game, you're not going to get a Polaris. You're not going to get anywhere near it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would happily estimate the Polaris price to be
$2,100 from what I remember talking to.
20 million something.
Yeah. Wait, you're gonna have to say that again because you broke up.
Yeah.
Oh wait, time out. Okay, let's let the bandwidth go. Okay, we're back now. What would you? Oh,
well,
wow.
I think that the price of you're good.
I don't know. It's like
We got a good
as
connection.
soon as you we don't have a good connection. As soon as you start talking,
Okay.
it's like the bandwidth goes zoom, and then it comes back up after you do. So let's try it again, and that will be. I mean, I'm interested in what you think the cost would be because I got it from Ben, and I want to see if you say the same number.
Okay, well, Ben's probably got more privy info than I. Well, I think Ben's seen the pricing structure sheet more than I have.
Okay.
I've got everything secondhand. But from what I've picked up and what I can figure out, I would say 20 to 30 million would be a fair price.
Wow, and that's a long time playing in the game.
Well, and very simply turn that into dollars, and that's tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's the discount?
What's the discount for a Javelin at that point? Or
95% discount.
Yeah, it's freaking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wonderful. Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah.
So those are your ships, and from what I understand, you have the Connie Phoenix, which I have.
Connie Phoenix.
You have the Idris.
Yeah.
And you have a Polaris.
I have the Idris P. And I wish I'd got the M, but I'm happy I've got an Idris, so I'm cool.
We'll find you and put on there.
and I've got the Polaris. So 3 ships, but a lot of firepower.
Now you have to get one more ship. Well, actually, a few more ships to fit in the hangar base.
Yeah, I mean, the Connie's thing. I don't know if you can fit a Connie in the Idris hangar bay. I don't know.
It doesn't look like
I think it's slight
width-wise.
I think width-wise, looking at the hangar bay of the Idris, the width is plenty. I think it might be the height at the doors. Okay. It's not going to stop me trying. I'll get someone to try that. So I think, but I know at the same time that if I'm taking my Idris out, I'm going to be quite happy letting other people land on the ship. So for me, there's no great reason for me to buy those ships that go on there because other people will have them. So
okay,
yeah, I see a bit of quick.
So you got involved with the community quickly, I take it, because you were there at Gamescom as a volunteer in 2014. How did that come about?
So for for everything that was Star Citizen at Gamescom 20, it was quite a cute little involvement. Since he's running Star Citizen. And there were a couple of people attending to those PCs, and that was about it. Chris and Aaron did a little live playthrough of Arena for Let's Talk, I think it was, Let's Play, and so I watched that, and I went over to the stand, and I because I already knew a little bit about the game and I could play, I encouraged people to come up and play the game, and yeah, that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
From there, over the years, I tried to help out in as many events as I could. Gamescom again the next year, and CitizenCon in Manchester. And so when it came to this year, when it came to 2016, I had already booked my holiday to go to Gamescom. I had booked my accommodation and everything. I already had my ticket to CitizenCon for October. And I worked out with Sandy and Chris and Erin a way that I could into full-time employment with CIG. I haven't looked back. And that was officially, the 8th of August. So that was a week before Gamescom.
That's freaking awesome. Welcome to CIG. You're going to Gamescom.
Straight on it.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
it. Yeah. Well, I mean, see, I was going anyway. So I didn't have a big mind shift. It was just...
Yeah, but what is watching
much
and the other one? Stress. Right?
I think it's less stress, more just sheer intense fun. It's just so much fun. There's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot of fun work, a lot of very rewarding work.
I don't work that hard on Black Friday. That was a busy day at CitizenCon.
Yeah, I mean, and Gamescom, I was laughing with Eddie and Galte, two of the volunteers who had come over from Europe, who we had worked together at the Gamescoms previously, and we were laughing because CitizenCon, I mean, it's a big affair. It's a big weekend, right? It's a lot going on. But Gamescom got the whole show floor expo on top of that. So you've got 5 days of show floor, setting that up, packing that down, running that, and you've got the pop-up events and the big celebration event on top of everything. So yeah, CitizenCon was more discreet and intense. Gamescom's just its own whole manic week.
So very quickly, you were given managing the volunteers and getting the event together. What exactly was your role in? I mean, obviously Sandy started setting up CitizenCon last year. So you come in. What was your role this year?
Well, this year, my role was to be coming in, helping the show floor run, making sure that was presented well to the public, and everything worked logistically. And Inez from the Frankfurt office has worked just as hard as most behind the scenes, getting everything set up, organization. So we worked together very, very closely. And our strengths were quite synergistic. So when it came to the actual week of, a lot of stuff was in place, and we just had to ride it through. There wasn't much time to change things after that. And in the couple of weeks before I came on board officially, I was still running a restaurant and also working close to full time with Inez on getting everything in place for Gamescom. One of the first things that I did was greatly increase the number of volunteers, because there just weren't enough, and I had a strong feeling that we were going to need a lot more, and we did. And even during the week, we took on a couple more. And at the same time, Ben wasn't well, and so he wasn't he wasn't in a good position to travel. We all wanted him to recover well and be healthy and happy. And Alexis, bless her, took care of that to some degree as well. And so they stayed in LA. And they were going to be helping run things at Gamescom as well, of course. So we took on those responsibilities as well.
All right. So then you hit
ramped up quickly.
Yeah. So then you hit CitizenCon, and you immediately. I mean, it seemed like almost immediately after, or actually almost before Gamescom, you were already picking the list for people for CitizenCon that you wanted to contact. And
absolutely.
How did you come up with those names? Like the people, like the volunteers. What was your just give it in your own words.
Well, the volunteer team
about this.
I wanted to take from three main groups of people. I had a full appreciation that some long-standing community members had already spoken to Sandy and Ben, Alexis, Tyler, Jared, and said, hey, hands up, I want to help. When the event comes, I want to be there and I want to support in any way I can. And so those were some great core community people. I also wanted to select some well-known figures in the community, and community leaders or known faces on streaming. So I wanted some people like that. So that was yourself, Sophie Girl, Stoutman, Wolf, people like this, right? So that was another core contingent of the volunteer team. People that would be happy going out and engaging with the queue, engaging with the attendees, and be recognized and have people go, oh my God, and for that to create a little bit of atmosphere and have a little bit of fun with that. And then I also wanted the opportunity to throw it out to the community and say, hey, who else would like to help? Who else is available? What skills have you got? Step on up. And so I put a little post and got plenty of answers, and had to turn some people away because our team got very full very quickly. Yeah. When it got up to 24, I think we had to say that's more than enough. And
there were a couple of times we could have used more, and a few times that we had too many. Times,
exactly. I think it was a very good number without getting silly, and at our busiest there was the wish that everyone could be in two places at once. And other times it was, okay, we've got lots of stuff, we're fine. So
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah,
it was work, but it was the most fun I've ever had. The people in this community rock. They are wonderful.
Oh yeah.
It's an experience I won't forget.
And then from that as well, there was a great understanding that if we engaged the queue well, and if we kept things happy and lively and fun in all facets before the show went live on CitizenCon, that the mood would stay jubilant and buoyant and hyped and anticipatory. That would in turn give Chris and the team a few precious minutes to get things how they needed it to be. And so I saw that clearly as one of our roles, to keep all the attendees engaged and happy, to let Chris get that time on stage to see what the presentation was looking like, to make sure that everything was in a place where he was comfortable and happy to walk out on stage and be in front of everyone. So, yeah.
So So events in the future. We're going to get back to what you would do differently in this one, but we're going to look towards the future for a second. It's probably no secret or not. It's a dumb moment to say that events in the future are going to have your fingerprint on them. What things do you think that you're going to bring to these events? People want cosplay contests. They want other pieces of Star Citizen to be brought to them, more interaction. But how much could you possibly do, and how are you going to put your fingerprint on that?
Oh, wow. Okay, so here's the thing, Nikki. You've just asked someone in the Star Citizen community how much is possible. And the crazy thing that if you ask anyone that in the Star Citizen community, they're going to answer the universe is possible, because that's the whole feeling of everything that is Star Citizen. So, but to say that things are possible doesn't always mean that they're practical. So I came on board with the complete understanding that the community in some ways was an untapped resource. It needed just a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a push, a little bit of support to start popping up its own events all around the world in such a great way. So that was one thing that I really wanted to get started. Reached out to a lot of community leaders, people that were already quietly organizing Bar Citizens, and squished them all together in a big melting pot. And now they're supporting each other, and those who have overcome obstacles in creating events on their own are now lending that expertise to others. And there's a Discord channel with, I think there's about 70 Bar Citizen organizers from around the world. And you look down the list of all the countries, there's Beijing there, there's most of Europe, there's most of the states of the United States, there's critical chunks of Canada and Australasia. The world's covered. And it's great to see, and it's really cool, and everyone works together. So one thing that I wanted to do was to support the community to make its own events in whatever way was possible. And one of the things that we keep doing is highlighting the Bar Citizen SC website. And that's a great focal point. Okay. Another thing that I keep reminding myself is the desire to do more. And more doesn't just mean more at one event and making it more interesting. It also means more of these supporting events, these pop-up events, these making CitizenCon not just about the Sunday night, but making it about a whole weekend, because people were going to go to LA for the week. So if you're in LA for the weekend, I wanted there to be something, a focal point for the Friday night, focal point for the Saturday night, somewhere to go after CitizenCon on the Sunday night. So we got all that in place, and it was a little bit more popular than I predicted, but in a good way. It's much better to have your party overflowing than have no one turn up, I always think. So it was a happy fullness. And that was something I did at Gamescom as well. Get those pop-up events on the Wednesday and the Thursday before the main party on the Friday. Going forward, there is a bit of a conundrum with the large events, and that is that imagine 600 people at an event and all of them wanting their 1 minute with Chris. That's 10 hours. So whilst I'm fully aware that if we rented a football stadium in any major city of the world and said, here's 5,000 tickets, we'd sell out. Given enough notice, people would come from around the world and they would flock. But then we lose the intimacy, we lose the ability to say, well, actually, of you 5,000, we're just going to pick 100 who gets to say hello to the dev team. And that goes against the feeling of these events and the feeling that Chris and Sandy and Ben want to give the people who come. They love the intimacy. They love the ability to talk and laugh and take a photo and hear a great story and hear how the community is inspired by the game, and from that be inspired themselves. So going forward, I think for the time being, these events are going to stay intimate, to give a quality event to the people who come, and to keep that tangible feedback going between the dev team and the community, which is really, really heartening for them. Whenever I see the dev team after an event, I always see them exhausted but inspired. It's a really strange combination. They're really exhausted, but they're so spiritually re-energized by all the tangible feedback that the community give them, and they like, we want to go make this game, and they go for it, and it's fun to see.
I hope it makes them go faster after the cons as it gets closer to the end of the year, so we get, pieces of the game
More
we're
cool
waiting
stuff. For. In a way, yes, because it does focus them, even though it drains them of a lot of stamina. It does focus them. It does make them really want to. I mean, not that they didn't already really want to get in and make the game great, but you see them re-energized after it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying not to keep you over an hour because now I have to cut it into 2 parts.
You do what you need to do.
Oh, you're wonderful to talk to,
Thanks.
I'm wondering if there's anything that you would change from this year's, but it kind of sounds like you already told me.
Well, I didn't have a lot of time in the company to flesh out all the ideas that I think could have added to the event in a really fun way. There were things that we wanted to do that would have been, and I'm not going to say what they were, but they would have added a really fun element. You mentioned as well cosplay, and that's been something that's been nagging me. And I've been chatting to some parts of the community about cosplay and what would be the dream come true for a cosplay person. And the dream come true would be to have access to assets that you can see on character meshes, and you can rotate them, and you can take your photos and drawings, and you can recreate this in real life, and you can have all the tools at your fingertips to be able to do what you want to in real life.
Yeah, you could 3D print anything today.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more for the soft clothing, the jackets, the shoes, the things you're actually going to wear.
One of the things that Sandy brought up a while ago was that she and Alexis were going to be doing a cosplay kit, and that came and went. And then each time I have her on the show and we talk about it, we talk about what things would be in that kit. Now, I think you're the perfect person on the inside to collect that information, to curate it, because
there's always been a desire from the team to give the community the tools and assets to realize their dreams.
Okay.
And on every level, and the fan kit is something that there's kind of like a pseudo fan kit, like a placeholder fan kit that's already out there, but we know that it's not what it needs to be. And so on the back burner, there's always been the realization that the fan kit needs to be done. It needs to be made. It needs to have a very clear conversation with all the parties involved to make sure that it's got a very clear legal message, so that the community knows very clearly what assets it can use, in what way, at what times, for what purpose, so that no one runs into any IP issues. And it needs to also provide people with all the fun things so that they get to have fun with it. It needs to support people who are making websites. It needs to give style guidelines for people who want to dabble in writing in-law fiction. And so I see it being, when I think through what it needs to be, I cannot see a department in the company that is not going to have to contribute in some way, shape, or form. And so it is a pretty big project. But it is something that was always on the back of people's minds, so that when we start talking about it, people go, oh, yeah, and it needs to do this. And so there's an understanding that it needs to happen. And it's just a case of, as with everything, we want to get it right.
Okay.
Saying that, I do want to really get it right in time to give people the time to make some really cool cosplay for Germany next year. So that's my own personal, like, that's where I want to get in.
And for the #1 cosplay event in the world, DragonCon. Whether you're there or not.
Well, the timing on that is pretty good. I mean, I think I personally will probably still be in Cologne, or maybe at the Frankfurt office following Gamescom.
Right.
Because it's like the week before. But
I don't know when Labor Day is next year. I know that you don't have that holiday there, but it's usually the first Monday after the first Tuesday of September. Weird way of doing it. But that's actually later than you think it is. It's the 4th
of September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much later than you think it is.
Yeah, but Gamescom this year is, well, I mean, I say this year because I'm already thinking ahead.
Right.
Gamescom 2017 is the 21st through the 26th of August.
Ah, that's like 2 weeks later. It's actually a week later. It's a week later.
Yeah.
So
and that's why I think.
Oh God, it's not going to work for you.
Maybe not for me personally, but I know that with a whole range of events next year, there is a desire to get some CIG presence there.
Right. It's all right. I'll take the helm on that one again. I love it. DragonCon.
But I think it would be really fun to support you with some great cosplay assets. So
yeah.
Let's see what we can do.
Thank you, because I think that's going to be a big deal. Now, I'm going to take the last part of this interview, which is going to just be a minute or two, because I'm going to push my own thing right now. With your love of food and gaming and my love of beer and spaceships, I've come up with a great idea.
We should have like a microbrewery Starfarer or something, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. And, I was wondering if we could get buy-in from Cameron, because I've gotten it from Brian, and Brian's going to be pitching it for me. So what do you think about the Starfarer microbrewery?
I am not alone in thinking that it's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
And here's something as well. There's other devs that have discussed it as well. And it's spreading. And the thing is that
plant a seed.
Star Citizen is very, as a concept, is very happy to push the boundaries and say what is possible. Can you do it in a universe? Let's see if we can make that happen in the game in a way that makes sense for the game, right?
Yep.
If I look at the Endeavor and the farming module, well, that kind of already leads into the fact that there could be some modular elements, there could be growing crops, that could work in with the economy. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to start thinking along the lines of having some kit on a Starfarer that is a brewery. I don't think it's a huge stretch. I think you probably want to start getting on board the people who are going to need to make those assets in their spare time. Get the props artists. Yeah.
That's got to be when they open that up to us, right? They said they were going to do that at one point, to open up the assets for us to alter. Are you still there?
I'm still here, yep.
I feel like I'm losing you in my headset. And I think if they can't do it, then maybe in the game when they start opening the assets up for us to not change, but augment, to complement, to add things to it. That's when that can happen. I mean, the tanks turning into breweries, that's not a reach. The cargo bay becoming a small little restaurant area, that's not out of reach, right?
Yeah, see, I think it's less likely to have the full restaurant feel on the Starfarer. I really foresee a Starfarer docking with an 890 jump and supplying it and having the 890 jump as the pinnacle destination for that.
The Polaris has the pool table.
Yeah,
No,
that just stops you going from crazy. So that's yeah.
All right, so I like that. So when we can get the right people with the time to do it. So I've got to work over Chris Smith some more.
Yeah. Sarah in the UK office, who designed some of the props, she'd be a good one to chat to. But
awesome. I know when I talked to Tony,
she's also just fun to chat to. So
the longest conversation I had with it was Tony. I mean, Aaron was just like, I don't know. And Brian's like, it would be cool. And he's like, all right, man, it would be cool. I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. You did that, Brian. but Tony, his wheels turning, goes, oh, we'd have to add in some kind of manufacturing. I don't know. I'm like, farming. And we'd have to, I'm like, farming. And he goes, oh, farming, distillery. And that was it. Farming, distillery, done.
Sick.
You know, his mind is like that. It goes fast. So as you say it a couple of times so he can catch up to it because he's already gone back. He's got to come back to it. He picked up and he goes, yeah, could work. Yeah, no, we got too much.
And I like that the game has enough scope to be able to support it.
Yeah. And it's a year or two away before we actually have that part of it in the game. Until then, we've got so much testing to do as backers for this game with everything that they showed on the PowerPoint, which I wish they wouldn't put numbers on the top. Just say, these are the things that we're working on, and just do slides and not put the numbers of the releases, because we know as fans watching this for 3-4 years now that a lot of those get jumbled and moved from one release to another, pushed back, pulled from another one.
And in general, what I've seen is when things change on their release schedule, it's just as much from something getting done and completed ahead of time.
Yes.
And meshing that together and making other things available, just as much as something not being ready and then that having to be pushed back.
Right.
And I think people overlook that quite a lot, like procedural planets.
The Gladius was like that.
Weren't even on the radar.
Yeah. And
then some geniuses did some brilliant work for months, and then boom, there you go, procedural planets. And that was the great impetus for the whole there being a show at Gamescom.
Okay.
Because suddenly there was something amazing to show off, and it let everything else come together.
Well, I'm praying for something amazing to see on November 18th. That's what I'm praying for. So I'm hoping.
Well, I think it's going to be a very entertaining show.
Awesome.
There's a lot that we're wanting to deliver, and there's a lot that's going in behind the scenes to make it as fun as possible.
Okay. So what do you think about my other endeavor, now working with Eden Star and Sophie Girl, the Lunatics?
Oh, it's great. It's a great show.
So will you?
I did watch it. I was kind of, I was a bit too sleepy the other night to take part, but I did enjoy watching it. Yeah.
You're so lucky you didn't see Friday. Oh, Friday never happened. No, I forgot.
No, I have a very different opinion. I think I'm the poorer for missing it.
Okay. Friday was fun, but drinking games, ooh.
I support fully. I think you guys should just let loose and have fun, because you all know the game so well that even if you've been drinking, you're still just going to have fun chatting about it. So, yeah, just go for it.
So
have fun.
Do you think maybe sometime in the next month you could come on with us? It's late for you. That's why I ask you in that way, because we shoot at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is fuck all in the morning for you.
That's 2 in the morning. I think it's unlikely,
Yeah.
despite how much I would enjoy being a part of the show.
I think what we're going to need to do is have a special recording for you. Because Sophie will cry if she can't get you on the
Well,
show.
well, yeah, but at the same time, there's other things that happen at more reasonable times for the UK, like with the base and other shows that there's opportunities there. So
Yeah,
we'll figure something out.
we will. I know we got to get Tyler too. Tyler will be fun.
He would be fun.
Tyler
Yeah.
will be amazing. Okay.
And just don't tell him it's live, so he can just sit there.
And that look.
One
of the looks I got, every picture I got from him was like the Barney Stinson photos where they would always be the same pose. I'd be taking a picture of him like, there's that pose again. Does he know he's getting this picture taken?
But yeah, he's brilliant. I love him.
Yeah,
And it's been so much fun working with him.
Good.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful guy, and I've had a rapport with each of the community managers through the years, and he is amazing. Love him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we took you for over an hour tonight. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And it was a pleasure and an honor to work with you, and I can't wait to see you in
Likewise.
I think Frankfurt next year.
Yeah, Frankfurt next year for CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Venue and date still to be decided. And of course Gamescom, if you're up to the madness of Gamescom.
Yeah, that I can't do. That is add drop week for college. If you know what that is, you have to be there. Otherwise, you don't get your class. So it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I need to get this degree so I could move up that ladder over at Apple. Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining me. And
Pleasure.
With that said, folks, y'all be safe out there. And I'll talk to you
See you around the verse.